Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities, presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, 5-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Dr. Catherine Jackson. A little bit about her. Dr. Catherine Jackson is known as Dr. J, known as America's #1 brain psychologist. She has been a featured expert in Oprah Magazine, the Huffington Post, CNN, the Washington Post, Prevention Magazine, Bustle, and many other media sources. Dr. J is a speaker, an experienced licensed clinical psychologist, neurotherapist, and coach who inspires others to live their best life. She will soon launch her practice and is the founder of the Dr. J's Holistic Health and Wellness, a nonprofit organization. With over 10 years of clinical experience, Dr. Jackson has become a sought-after expert in mental health, neurotherapy, relationships, and holistic health and wellness. She specializes in improving well-being by increasing brain functioning and subsequently overall wellness. Dr. Jackson is able to improve people's ability to think and concentrate, make healthy decisions, regulate their emotions and behaviors, and help them relate to others. Dr. Jackson meets individuals where they are as she collaborates with them to help them reach their personal heights. Dr. Jackson has extensive education and training, including a bachelor's degree in developmental psychology, a master's of science degree in human services and counseling, a postmaster's certificate in school counseling, and doctorate degree in clinical psychology with an emphasis in marriage and family therapy. A lifelong learner with a particular passion for brain, holistic health, and the mind-body connection, she earned a board certification in neurotherapy. Dr. J is also a board-certified coach, a certified nutrition and integrative medicine practitioner, and is a board-certified in telemental health online therapy. Welcome to the table, the amazing Dr. Catherine Jackson.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. We're so excited to have you at the table tonight, Dr. Jackson. We know that you're going to share some amazing wisdom and knowledge with my listeners. So tell us more about your entrepreneur journey.
Whew, it's been a long time coming. I think, like a lot of other women that I know, I have drug my feet on it. I've let fear set in. I shot myself in the foot, but I should soon be opening my online telehealth practice, and I'll be offering mental health services along with coaching services for things like eating healthy.
I love that. So let's talk about you being the #1 brain psychologist in the world. So tell us about this amazing accomplishment, because this is an amazing accomplishment.
It's just an accomplishment. I don't put too much on it. I try to do my best to focus on brain health no matter what I do, whether it's coaching people to eat healthier or helping people in the office with mental health. I always focus on the brain. And so thus, America's #1 brain psychologist.
I love that, because focusing on the brain is key, right? Because that's where everything comes from. So
yes.
I love that, you bring it all together by focusing on that. So let's talk more about this. So why is it important for us to take care of our mental health and go to therapy? A lot of people run from therapy, right? But it's actually healthy, and it's okay.
It's completely okay. So many people, I'm not sure, it's stigma. To answer your first part of that, why so many people run from it, I believe it's stigma. It's just long-standing. It's been going on for years. It's more prevalent with some groups than other groups, and it's been hard, but we're chipping away. All the different therapists, we're chipping away at that wall and trying to tear that stigma down, because as the same way people will go to the doctor, like you wouldn't just wrap up a broken leg and just hope that it will heal. And I feel like that's what people do with mental health. they feel a certain way or they're experiencing certain things and they just say it's going to go away. And I may be unpopular by saying this, but some people say they can just pray it away. But the same way that God has placed medical doctors here on this earth, He also placed therapists on this earth. And so if you're going to go to the doctor whenever you have a physical ailment, I urge people to do the same thing whenever they have a mental, emotional, relational, behavioral, some kind of problem of that nature, because a therapist can help. And oftentimes, if we get the help pretty soon, it's less therapy that's needed. And if you wait longer, the worse the problem becomes, and so then you need more help. It's just like if you break your leg and you don't get the help, you know, infection sets in, it hurts more, and it's probably going to take longer to heal it than if you break your leg and you go to the doctor immediately.
I know I read an article, you know, when everything happened with Kobe Bryant last weekend, you know, which was shocking to the whole world. And it was an article about our, you know, men in general, how they express themselves and, you know, being able to cry and show their emotion instead of holding it in and turning it into anger. Let's talk about that. Why do you think, you know, that's very, I mean, it's actually a problem, and, you know, they're trying to figure out ways to make that better, you know, because it was an article that showed LeBron and some other players really, you know, crying and really expressing themselves and let them know it's okay, you know, for you all to show your emotions instead of bottling it up in anger. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, it is totally okay for men to show their emotions. I think society has set the tone that men should not show emotions, and so they typically have not. I think that was great. I mean, the tragedy that happened to the Bryant family and all of the other families that were on that helicopter, it was shocking. It's horrific. It's not something that any of us would want to happen. But if something good comes out of it, with the guys crying, strong basketball players crying and showing emotions, maybe that is part of that breakthrough we need to show men that it is okay to show your emotions. And men aren't the only ones. I think there are certain women who are taught to stay strong, and then they can't, you know, that's what they're supposed to do, and they wear it like it's a badge of honor. But they're holding in so many emotions, and they're hurting themselves, and eventually the more you hold that in, you don't have a place to release it, a place to process it, a place to get help, then at some point you're not going to be good for yourself, and you're definitely not going to be good for other people. And so I just saw an article, too, today, someplace on social media about, I believe it was Philadelphia, and they were offering free therapy to men so that men could get out those emotions and to express themselves and to get the help that they need so they can be better for their families and for themselves. I thought that was so cool.
I did too, embracing that, right? Shining light to that, because that is so important, and we need to shine light more onto that, right? Because we all have emotions, so express yourself. You know, it's okay. It's okay. So, Dr. Captain, you are able to improve people's ability to think and concentrate and make healthy decisions and regulate their emotions and behaviors and help them relate better to others. Let's talk more about that. And what are some of the strategies that you use?
I use a lot of the typical, therapeutic strategies, but the thing that kind of sets me apart, things that's different and people come to me specifically for, is the neurotherapy. And neurotherapy is a brain-based treatment, and you use lots of different technology. It's based on operant conditioning, where you're retraining your brain waves to work more efficiently. So it starts off with a brain map, where we take a look at the brain and where there's dysregulation in the brain. If it's at the front of the brain, the back of the brain, and most of the time we see dysregulation in different parts of people's brains. And so once I can locate that, then what I go through with them doing is the neurotherapy, and it's a long commitment, but it's so worth it, because I see people changing the way that their brain functions, changing the way that they perceive things and the way that they think, and just changing their mindset and behaviors altogether.
I love that. And that's so different and unique, and it's definitely, like you say, it is unique because, I mean, neurotherapy and the way you're using that to help people improve themselves, and it's a unique way to do it. I like that.
Thank you.
I love it. So let's talk more about the strategies that you would give to listeners as it relates to taking care of their mental health and their overall wellness. So what are some things that listeners can do? We know therapy is one of them, but what are some other things that we can do to embrace taking care of our mental health? Because I think a lot of people, they probably think they're taking care of themselves, or they might think going to the nail shop or whatever is self-care and taking care of mental health and all that stuff. But what are some real strategies, some real tools that we can use and listeners can use to help, improve our mental health, improve our self-care, improve our overall wellness to be good inside and out? Not just on the outside, but inside and out.
Well, I love it. I don't know how many of these you want. I got like a long list. I'm going to try to condense a few.
Okay.
But one of the main things, and people look at me cross-eyed when I tell them this, is to first work on your sleep. When we're tired, we are no good. You cannot function. And most of us are getting too little sleep, like way too little, or just really disruptive sleep. And so if you can work on your sleep, getting good quality sleep, you feel so much better. People hate it, including myself, but if we work out, that improves our mood as well. I am not a fan of working out, but I work out because I know how good it is for my body and for my brain. And then speaking from the nutrition part of me, I love eating healthy. Anybody that follows me any place or talks to me for any length of time, I'm always talking about eating, and most of the time healthy eating. And so when we pay attention to what we're eating, kind of throwing out the junk food, you don't have to kick it out forever. Like right now, whoever's watching the Super Bowl right now, they are not eating their best food. And that is okay. We can all splurge sometimes, but when you're not celebrating something or having fun with friends, trying to eat healthy, making sure that you're getting enough fruits and vegetables in. For some people, some supplements. But you want to try to get it from its natural source, so more fruits and vegetables, reducing sugary drinks and fried foods and junk food as much as possible will work wonders for mental health. And I think the mental health field is starting to pay more attention to that, about incorporating healthy eating as it relates to mental health. And then you hit it. You touched on this a little bit in your question about self-care. Self-care. Taking time for yourself. I just said something to somebody earlier today about how I work 6 days a week and then I go to church on Sunday, so that means I'm out of the house 7 days. And so I have to be very diligent to take some time just for myself. And when the opportunity presents itself, like it did this weekend, to have 2 consecutive days off, I totally skipped church. But when I can get 2 consecutive days off, then I truly make it a self-care weekend, and I take a day not to go out of the house on one of the days and another day to just do things that bring me joy. And I know there's a lot of busy professionals out there. Most people typically have the weekend, and they use that weekend to run all their errands, but slow down sometime. Take care of yourself. That could include doing things like a bubble bath or doing your nails if you're really listening to yourself and you say that's what you really need. But self-care goes so much further than bubble baths, hair done, nails done. They could be a part of it, but you want to pay attention to how you feel and then honor that feeling. So if that means kind of getting organized, if that's your self-care, then take time for that self-care. If that means getting more rest, do that for your self-care. Whatever your body needs, and really listening to what you need and setting boundaries so that nobody can mess with that time, so that you can take care of yourself. You got to set those boundaries, because people will start, your phone will go off, people will see that you're free, and they'll try to pull on your time. But if you set this time, just like you said, any other appointment, a doctor's appointment, the time that you're going to be scheduled for work, if you set that time for yourself time and you shut everything off, I say leave the phone. Leave it someplace else and spend time, just quality time with just yourself.
That is so important, right? Setting those boundaries. We all should have healthy boundaries. And I think a lot of people, that's where it goes left. Because you don't set boundaries. And turn your phone off if you can't stop answering it, turn it off, right?
Yes,
And, you know, taking care of your mental health is also just spending time alone and in quiet and in silence, right? That's mental health, taking care of your mental health.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So thank you for shedding light on that, because I think a lot of people, like you said, they think that their hair and they're getting their nails done, or that's, you know, no, we're talking about real self-care, mental health, like, you know, actually spending time with yourself, actually listening, like you said, listening to your body. A lot of people don't listen to their body until it's too late.
That's true, until it's way too late. And I want to make sure that your listeners know that getting your hair done or getting your nails done, it could be a part of it, but that's not all it is. If you're a woman and you haven't had your hair done and your nails done, and you haven't been able to pamper yourself for a long time, then maybe that is your self-care for one weekend. But that is not self-care every weekend or every week or every month. Sometimes you have to slow down and just take time for yourself. Sometimes you have to stay in and go no place.
And I like that you highlighted working out, right? Because it does. It does set the mood. It sets the tone. It really does. So for all of our listeners, definitely take some time in your day to work out and do something for your overall health and wellness. So that's so important. Whether it's yoga, Zumba, you know, something.
Yoga. That's so good for the brain, too. Body and brain.
So thank you for sharing those tips. So what is some advice you would give to listeners on ways that therapy can benefit them, right? Because it's healthy. It's not, therapy is okay. Therapy is good. Healthy people go to therapy. So what are some of the benefits of going to therapy?
I think, you know, a lot of people feel like they can simply just talk to their friends, or they can just, you know, I'm just going to hash this out with my pastor. These are good places to talk and to process different things that are going on. But what I find that is nicer about going to therapy is that you get an objective view. Sometimes those other people in your life, they're like yaysayers. They're cheering for you. They may not be able to truly tell you the full truth. And so, you know, maybe they're walking on eggshells, and they're telling you what you want to hear. And with pastors, what I find with a lot of them that I work with is that they're only equipped to do so much. And so if you have a whole congregation, and even if only a fourth of the congregation needs to see you, there's not enough hours in the day. And so that's where therapists come in therapy. You get a therapist, you have somebody who's objective and who is helping you to win and to bring out your best self. And it's not even always about things being so wrong with you. It's just trying to get you on track to those different things that you really want to bring out in your life. And maybe you've been stuck or holding yourself back a little bit. So that's what I think the benefit of therapy is. You get that objective voice and somebody who's rooting for you, but they're going to be able to tell you the truth as well.
And I think people think, you know, something has to be wrong to go to therapy. It doesn't. Nothing has to be wrong to go to therapy.
No, it can just be a voice for somebody to process something with. Somebody objective that maybe somebody, you know, all the other people in your life, they can't understand it. A lot of people, you know, they may be going down a path that friends just can't understand that particular path that you're on. It's not that it's good or bad, and it doesn't make them good or bad. They just can't understand the place where you are and where you're trying to go. But maybe when you go and you talk to a therapist, they can.
Just having that outlet is so important. And I know that you specialize in relationships as well. So let's talk about these toxic relationships, knowing the difference between those, and, you know, making sure that you are surrounding yourself with healthy relationships and healthy environments, knowing those triggers, and not waiting until it's too late to remove yourself.
Yes. I feel like I can go in two directions with this one. The first one, though, is the first sign is knowing how it makes you feel. If something is taking up too much of your time, if every time you're around somebody you're not feeling your best, we're gonna feel some funky emotions sometimes when we get into relationships, just because that's the nature of relationships. Everything will not be roses. But if you feel like everything is not roses all the time, I think that's the number one sign that it's a toxic relationship, and you might need to reevaluate if this is the relationship for you. And the funny thing is, these relationships are they're not just the dating type. You can get toxic relationships with friends. You can have toxic relationships with family members. You can have toxic relationships on your job. And you just have to pay attention to how that's making you feel. If you find that you're complaining all the time about a particular person or persons, chances are that is a toxic relationship, if it's always making you feel horrible. And then with social media, this was the other direction. I feel like a lot of toxic could come from that. Like you said, turn the phone off, turn off those notifications. If it doesn't make you feel good, sometimes some of these comments that people are making, or you are hoping that people would be more engaged and you're always giving support and you're not giving it back, unfriend, unfollow. You don't have to have this stuff getting into your world. We allow certain things into our lives. We allow it into our world, and we can control it. So you can get rid of certain people if it doesn't make you feel good, and you can get rid of certain things, especially online. We definitely can control what we see. We think we have to follow so-and-so, and we have to see what they're doing. But if it doesn't make you feel good and they're really not that core person that you're for and they're for you too, get rid of it. Life is too short to have all this, silly drama, face-to-face and online.
Right. Remove them. Protect your mental health. You have to protect your mental health and protect your space. And Dr. J, you are the founder of Dr. J's Holistic Health and Wellness, a nonprofit organization. Tell us more about your nonprofit and how we can support, donate, and connect.
So my nonprofit was the baby for helping more people, and people who normally would not either hear about or have access to different resources. So in my in-office work of what I do one-on-one with individuals and families and couples, like I said earlier, I do the neurotherapy, I do relationship therapy, family therapy, so on and so forth. And when they're in the office with me, one person per hour, I can only help so many people. But the nonprofit was a way to help more people and to get to some of those communities who normally would not hear about these different kind of services. Like when I go to African American communities or communities that are primarily black, they've most often never heard of anything even close to neurotherapy. And all the different things that I do with neurotherapy, mindfulness, relaxation, nutrition-based things, so on and so forth, they haven't been using those resources as much, and so I started the nonprofit as a way to go out into these communities to help more people who normally don't have access to these types of resources.
I love that. So definitely support Dr. J's nonprofit. Dr. J, tell them how they can follow it and the website and how they can get involved and, get more information on your nonprofit. Yes.
The website is drccj.com. That's D for David, DR, so D for David, R, C as in cat, C as in cat, J for Jackson.com. And you can follow us and join any of the challenges. Most of them are free or very, very low cost. Challenges and groups and so on and so forth. We have text alerts set up on the main page, so you can sign up for text alerts and you can know everything that is going on. We send out texts, and we're not very spammy. We only send them out when things are actually happening. And then The same thing, we have an email subscribe group. And so you could go straight to the website, right on the home page, off on the right side of the screen, and sign up for the email subscription list as well.
So definitely
we have blogs too. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a blog there, and I have a podcast called Your Holistic Way with Dr. J, so you can subscribe to that too. And I bring different guests on, and I talk about different topics, like I was saying, that I share in the community. But anybody is welcome to listen.
So how can listeners be a guest, or submit a a guest request, or how does that go during your show?
I usually get the guest request via emails, or people will send me direct messages on social media and say, I would like this topic. And so what we do is we collect certain information, and then we decide if that information goes along with our motto, our overall theme, which is holistic health and wellness. And so if it's something that falls, which is very broad, anything that falls within holistic health and wellness, we welcome such experts to come on and share your message to the audience.
Absolutely. So listeners, if you're an expert in the holistic field, definitely reach out to Dr. J. So Dr. J, you have created multiple tables for yourself and built your own table. But I ask my guests, all my guests, the same question. How did you create your seat at the table?
Faith. That one's kind of easy. Everything is built on faith. Like, that's the bottom of my foundation. I don't move without God's direction. When I found that I've tried to rush and do something, it didn't work. And so I take my time with patience and faith. And just like you said, creating my own seat or creating my own table, being the only African-American, Black, whichever word people want to use, psychologist at the place where I've worked, I feel like sometimes I am just not considered, or I don't always get to move for it. And so instead of just accepting that fate, I decided to start creating my own tables, as you say. And I never thought of it that way, but I started to create my own tables because I knew I had my God-given voice to share with the world and talents to share with people. And so because one place decides that maybe, it's not valued, or they don't want to use it, or they want to just simply go with someone else, fine. But the world is huge. And so I just decided to create spaces, and I'm glad that I did, because I know even if it's just one person, I've helped somebody.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm a true believer in it, even if it's just one. Love that. So we all have a process on our journey. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
Whew, so many messages. Failure is a huge teacher, I will say that. And I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from failure is not to give up. I was on the brink of giving up and not even becoming a licensed clinical psychologist. I am not ashamed. It's part of my story. I share it with people online. I share it with people face-to-face. I share it with patients when it's appropriate, when they feel like giving up. But I had a hard time getting that license to be licensed as a psychologist. It was a thorn in my side, and when it wasn't working out, I let a lot of time pass and a lot of self-doubt set in. And then I got to the point where it was going to be, I think it was about a month left on the application or else I'd have to reapply, repay all the money, so on and so forth to try to become licensed. So I did a thing the summer before I retook that test and just said, this is it. This is the fork in the road for me. I did a whole gratitude challenge with myself and a friend of mine. We did a whole gratitude thing. I just fully focused on being grateful for what was already in my life. And after I did that, I went back and took the test. I just totally trusted God, and I said, no matter which way this results go, if I pass the test, then I know that's God's confirmation for me to stay in this field. And if I didn't, I was going to walk away from the field of psychology altogether. And so, thanks be to God, I passed the test, and everything since then has been so much. The Oprah feature, the Huffington Post feature, all the different stuff that you're seeing, and you talked about at the beginning, now the practice coming soon, and hopefully in March, there's still a few details to wrap up. All of that stuff would not have happened if I would have gave up just because it wasn't working out in the time that I thought. So that's what failure taught me. You got to keep going, and you got to trust God and His timing.
Yes, that is so key, trusting God and His timing. So what did success teach you on your journey, because you're very successful?
So I'm going to be honest. I'm still working on this whole success thing. When I get an accomplishment, I do celebrate it now. I used to, okay, that's great, and then I'll go on, what's the next thing? Now I do take time and celebrate and be joyful about the accomplishment, but I am not the most comfortable person with success and accomplishment. I try to stay pretty humble. I think that's a good thing, but sometimes I'm just like, okay, and I just let it slide off. So I can't fully say what it's taught me, because half the time I'm not looking at it enough and not giving it enough attention when I do succeed. I know that sounds weird, but but it's the truth.
Well, hey, you're doing an amazing job, so keep shining.
Thank you.
Keep shining. So tell us, what can we expect from you, Dr. J, in the year, this new decade, this new year of 2020? What can we expect from you this year? I see you already have 3 speaking engagements that you just performed the other day. And tell us what else we can expect.
If I can get off my butt, you can expect 2 books this year. 1 book will be coming out soon. But hopefully I can get that second one piped out this year in 2022. But I will be overwhelmingly happy if once the first one just comes out. I will just bask in the glow of that. But that's one of the biggest things. I'm hoping. I'm putting it out there. Hopefully it happens in 2020. It may happen in 2021. But to have a big movement event, I like to promote movement, exercise, fitness, just getting up and moving. And I do that in May. I do a whole thing in May called Movement in May with an awesome fitness expert. And so I'm hoping to have an actual live event this year through Dr. J's Holistic Health and Wellness. So it'll be like a very low cost or free, depending on what the whole group decides, event, and we can get a lot of people out live to walk and move and just, enjoy each other and really talk about how to incorporate physical movement for your health.
I love that. Well, super congratulations on all the great things you have going on. Your speaking opportunities, both of your books, yes, will be launched this year. We're going to claim that.
Claiming it.
Yes, and all the events that you have going on. Super congratulations in advance, and I will be there to support. And listeners, make sure you connect with her. She's definitely somebody to know, someone to connect with. So, Dr. J, please tell our listeners how they can follow, support, and connect with you on all social media platforms.
Unfortunately, people have my name, so I have different names on all the different social media platforms. I am jealous of people who can say, follow me at such and such on all platforms. I cannot say that. So I'm going to just break each one down. On Twitter, my name is Dr. Dr. C as in cat, C as in cat Jackson, so Dr. CC Jackson. That's on Twitter. On Instagram, it's just my name, Dr. Dr. Catherine Jackson. And then on Facebook, it's just my name, Dr. Dr. Catherine Jackson, but there's a period between each thing. So Dr. period, Catherine period, Jackson. So those are my 3 main social media platforms, and that's where people can find me.
Awesome. So make sure you go follow and support her, Dr. Catherine Jackson. She is somebody, like I said, is someone to know, somebody who's doing amazing things in the community, within her profession. And so look out for her books this year and her speaking at different events. And Dr. Catherine, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you.
You're welcome out of your very busy schedule to come to the table. This has been a powerful interview, and I can't wait to invite you back to the table.
I would love to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome, and I look forward to working with you and collaborating with you in this new year.
Oh, I'm going to hold you to it.
All right, love it. So I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University, and my intern, Vontaria, from Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.